Hello everyone, and welcome back to Trains. Today, we're travelling on one of Britain's most fascinating railway routes as we make the journey with Chiltern Railways from Birmingham Moor Street to London Marylebone. Unlike the faster West Coast Main Line, this route follows the historic Chiltern Main Line, passing through beautiful countryside, historic towns, and some of England's most attractive railway stations. Over the next hour or so, we'll travel almost 100 miles from the heart of the Midlands into central London, and along the way, we'll discover the history of this remarkable railway and the places it serves. Our journey begins at Birmingham Moor Street, one of Britain's finest preserved railway stations. Opened by the Great Western Railway in 1909, it was built to ease congestion at nearby Solihull station. Today, it has been beautifully restored, with traditional lamps, period signage and architecture that gives visitors a glimpse into the golden age of rail travel. It really is one of the country's most atmospheric stations. Almost immediately after departure, we reach Birmingham Solihull. This station has had a remarkable history. It was once one of Birmingham's principal railway stations before closing to long-distance services during the 1970s. For a time, it looked as though it would disappear forever, but thanks to extensive rebuilding work, it reopened during the late 1980s and has once again become an important part of Birmingham's railway network. Leaving the city behind, the railway begins to head south through Solihull and Dorridge. This section of the line was constructed during the 19th century by the Great Western Railway as part of its ambitious route linking London with Birmingham. At the time, railway companies fiercely competed for passengers and freight, and this line became one of the Great Western's most important routes into the Midlands. As we leave the suburbs, the scenery quickly changes to rolling Warwickshire countryside. Although today's trains can travel at speeds of around 100 miles per hour, the gentle curves of the railway remind us that it was designed by Victorian engineers more than 170 years ago. Our first major railway junction is Hatton Junction, where the branch line to Stratford-upon-Avon diverges from the main line. Stratford, of course, is famous around the world as the birthplace of William Shakespeare, and many visitors use this railway every year to reach the historic town. Just beyond the junction, we climb Hatton Bank, one of the best-known railway gradients in the Midlands. During the steam era, this was a real test for heavy express locomotives, and it remains a favourite location for railway photographers whenever steam specials return to the route. We soon arrive at Warwick Parkway, a modern park-and-ride station designed to encourage people to leave their cars behind and continue their journey by rail. Shortly afterwards, we reach Warwick itself. Just a short walk from the station stands Warwick Castle, first built by William the Conqueror over 900 years ago. Today, it remains one of England's finest medieval castles and attracts visitors from around the world. Our next stop is Leamington Spa, a town that became famous during the Victorian period for its spa waters. The railway helped transform Leamington into a fashionable destination, bringing visitors from across Britain. Even today, it remains one of the most elegant towns on the route, with wide boulevards, Regency architecture, and beautiful parks. South of Leamington, the railway becomes faster as we continue through the Oxfordshire countryside towards Banbury. This historic market town has been an important railway centre for generations, with several railway lines once meeting here. Many people know Banbury from the famous nursery rhyme about the fine lady upon a white horse, but it has also played an important role in Britain's railway history for over 150 years. Leaving Banbury, we continue through peaceful countryside towards King Sutton before reaching Aynho Junction. Although many passengers never realise they're passing it, this has long been one of the railway's most significant junctions, where routes towards Oxford diverge from the main line. For many decades, it has played a vital role in railway operations across southern England. our journey continues to Bicester North. Just a short distance away is the famous Bicester Village shopping outlet, attracting millions of visitors every year. The railway around Bicester has seen significant investment in recent years, improving connections between Oxford, London and the wider rail network. From here, we continue towards Hatton and Thames Parkway, serving the historic market town of Thames and surrounding villages, before arriving at Prince's Risborough. This is another important junction where trains leave the main line for Aylesbury. Since the Victorian era, this station has been a key operating point on the Chiltern network. South of Prince's Risborough, we enter one of the most scenic parts of the journey as the railway passes through the beautiful Chiltern Hills. This area of rolling countryside, ancient woodland and picturesque villages has been recognised for its outstanding natural beauty. If you're lucky, you may even spot one of the magnificent red kites soaring above the fields. Once almost extinct in England, these impressive birds have made a remarkable comeback and are now a familiar sight throughout the Chilterns. Our next major stop is High Wycombe. During the 19th century, the town became famous for furniture making, particularly Windsor chairs, and the arrival of the railway helped its industries flourish. Today, High Wycombe is one of Chiltern Railways' busiest stations, with thousands of commuters travelling into London every day. Continuing south, we pass through Beaconsfield, Sear Green and Jordan's, Gerrard's Cross, Denham Golf Club and Denham. These stations serve many of the commuter towns that have grown around the railway over the last century. The Chiltern Main Line has become one of the country's most important commuter routes, carrying millions of passengers every year between Buckinghamshire, the Midlands and London. Today, the route is operated by Chiltern Railways, which provides a mixture of express and stopping services throughout the day. Most trains are operated by modern diesel multiple units, while some flagship services continue to use powerful Class 68 locomotives hauling Mark V coaches. These locomotive-hauled trains provide one of the few remaining opportunities to experience traditional intercity rail travel in southern England. As we approach London, the landscape gradually changes from open countryside to dense suburbs. Soon, the famous arch of Wembley Stadium appears on the horizon. Whether it's football, concerts, or other major sporting events, Wembley remains one of Britain's most recognisable landmarks and is clearly visible from the railway. The final few miles take us through northwest London before we glide into London Marylebone. Opened in 1899, Marylebone was the last of London's great Victorian railway termini to be built. Unlike many of the capital's larger stations, it has retained a relaxed and welcoming atmosphere. Remarkably, there were once plans to close the station altogether, but thankfully those proposals were abandoned. Today it is thriving once again and serves as the southern gateway to the Chiltern Main Line. So that brings us to the end of our journey from Birmingham Moor Street to London Marylebone. This railway may not be the fastest way between Birmingham and London, but it is certainly one of the most enjoyable, combining over 170 years of railway history with beautiful scenery, historic towns, and some wonderful examples of Victorian railway engineering. I hope you've enjoyed travelling along this fascinating route with me today. If you have, please give the video a like, share it with your friends and fellow railway enthusiasts, and don't forget to subscribe to Trains for many more driver's eye view journeys, railway history features and railway adventures from across the United Kingdom. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.